there, friends. It's Emma here, the Bookish Princess. The books and I have moved, so it's time to give you a tour of the new library loft. So it's been a little while since I was last around these parts. I hope you all have been keeping well. I've certainly been keeping busy with the move, for one thing. It was hard to leave the farmhouse. I do miss my lovely farmhouse. It was so fun to share so many scenes from there on my channel, but I'm really excited about this new space. It just felt like God was calling me on, and it's been really fun to have a new library loft, a new nook for all the books. So I thought I'd give you a tour, maybe get your input, because things are still in flux. I haven't like 100% settled on where things will go, and I think I'm gonna get some new shelves. So I thought we'd chat about that, and then I'd also do a little catch up and tell you all what I've been reading lately. So I hope you've got your cup of tea and are ready to go. So we've got our pretty paper flower wreaths. These were actually kits that I got at Paper Source, and then I made them from the kit, but they lead us up to our lovely loft. There's so much light in this space. Like even today is a rainy day, and actually rainy days just sitting watching the raindrops against the skylight is pretty magical. We've even got a fireplace, which I am so excited for the winter. That is a working fireplace, so I think that'll be so cozy. It's such a charming space. So my bookshelves you all will recognize from the farmhouse. They're the same ones, because kind of the same configuration. I really love these corner shelves and the way the books look displayed like that. And I have these, I got the shelves and the lamps from Wayfair, so they kind of light it from behind. I really love the ladder bookshelf look because it just feels very open. It's open to the wall. It's not like closed off like a normal bookshelf. So I'm not actually going to go through every single book on my shelves because I've done that before, and they're pretty much all the same books that you've seen in that last tour, or that I've talked about buying in reading vlogs since then. But we will go through the shelves and talk about some favorites and some things I've been reading. See, this is my dilemma. This is what I'm trying to decide. I definitely need a new shelf. I mean, you can see all the books stacked over here. But what kind of shelf do we buy? How many do we get? So like I said, I really love these corner shelves. I feel like they're so fun. And if we got a third corner shelf, we could put it right there, and then that would look really great because the fireplace would be equally framed. I don't know if it would look as good from downstairs, but I don't know, it's an option. Other option is to get a third bookshelf for this wall, so I could just move the desk. I do work up here, and I usually like to put the desk and the chair out here so I can sit looking out the skylights. But then if we did that, the desk would have to live permanently in the middle of the space. And I kind of would like to save the space for like a chair. I keep thinking of bringing my rocking chair up here and maybe putting it in the corner. That's another option. Final option is to get 2 more bookshelves, which I don't know, how many bookshelves will those books fill? Unfortunately, filling bookshelves is all too easy for me, so I should probably not buy too many new bookshelves, because then I'll be like, oh, I can buy more books. I have so much space now. But see, we could fit 2 more of the, normal ladder ones, and then the desk could still stay there against the wall. And then if there were some empty shelves, maybe I could like display things on them other than books, but eventually I would probably buy a lot of books and fill them up again. So yes, those are my options. We could get more of the ladder. We could get the one corner one. Even stacks of books look cute. I don't really want to leave these there forever though. A lot of these are my like American Girl books from growing up, which I don't have the heart to get rid of. I love them. They deserve a spot with all the rest of the books. I really actually like the way these books look, just stacked up in a little pyramid. It makes me wish I had more box sets so that I could do a matching little pyramid next to that shelf. But yes, if you watched my videos before, you will be familiar with all my favorite authors and my favorite books. I have the P.G. Wodehouse. This is the Everyman editions, hardcovers. I really love those. This is the Penguin Classics, Jane Austen. I have probably too many copies of Jane Austen. See, this is why I don't need more shelves, because I would buy more copies of Jane Austen that I don't need. This is such a cool series. It's English Journeys. So these are like very old books about journeys in England. Like I think this one was written in like the 1700s. Just really, really pretty. Of course, we have some Ellen Montgomery. This is the VMC, Virago Modern Classics series. These covers are just totally, totally dreamy. Laura Ingalls Wilder. Absolutely love Laura Ingalls Wilder. These are my Everyman Library Pocket Poets. See, if we had more shelves, I could move those to another shelf and then I would have room for more of them. Don't these spines just look absolutely fabulous? So these shelves are not, honestly, nothing is very well organized. I really need to get things organized again, because at my old place I had things nicely kind of grouped by subject, but then when I got here I just kind of put stuff on the shelves to get it out of the way, and I need to go back and reorganize. But these are some of my older books. These are the oldest books on my shelves. William Cooper was Jane Austen's favorite poet. So when I found this on eBay, I thought I had to get it. I think these are from like 1824. So lovely. Let's see, are any of these new? I don't think any of this is really new. I have gotten some more Shakespeare's since I last saw you guys. So whenever I visit an independent bookstore in a new place when I'm traveling, I go to the Shakespeare section and I look for these the Pelican Shakespeare's. I just think the covers are so fabulous. So Othello is new, Hamlet is new, Romeo and Juliet is new. Yeah, I've really expanded my collection of the tragedies. Macbeth. There's one, I went to the swing dancing workshop in Cambridge and I bought this at the Harvard bookstore, and I had forgotten how amazing Merchant of Venice is. Like, usually I think of my favorite Shakespeare play as Much Ado About Nothing, because this is like basically Pride and Prejudice as a Shakespeare play. But how on earth did I forget about Portia? Portia is one of the top tier Shakespeare heroines, and there are so many classic lines in this. So yes, I really enjoyed reading this, and fun to have it on my shelf now. Let's see, what else is new? The Mary Stuarts are old friends. She's a fabulous British mystery writer. Some of these are new. They are, what are they? Chronicle books. We have Celtic Tales. We have, hold on. We have Tales of India, and we also have Nordic Tales, and they are all illustrated. So they have like one cool illustration at the start of every story. I'm sure I've shown you guys this one. I really enjoyed this one. I feel like I haven't dived into these two as much as I would like, but very cool. They have other countries and other cultures as well. Mary Hall was one of my top books of last year. I love Beverly Nichols, but I had never read the Mary Hall trilogy before, so I did get the other two books, which only one of them is here, Laughter on the Stairs, the other is Sunlight on the Lawn, which I think my mom has my copy right now. But these are possibly my favorites from Beverly Nichols. He also wrote Down the Garden Path, which is a nice kind of introductory one. This was about one of his gardens. He also wrote, oh, hold on, we're losing C.S. Lewis here. He also wrote these Cats, ABC, and XYZ, which are so fabulous. You know, the funny thing about Beverly Nichols, I used to work at a bookstore, and this book, this exact one, was on the shelf, and I kept looking at it, and I was so tempted to buy it, but you know, I couldn't make up my mind. And then one day when I was visiting that shelf again, it was gone. And so I look in the computer and it was like scheduled to be returned to the publisher because it wasn't selling, but it was in a box. It hadn't been sent yet. So I go into the back room and I get it out of the box and I buy it. And if I had not done that, I would never have known about Beverly Nichols. He is so funny and witty. His dry British humor is fabulous. It's like if P.G. Wodehouse wrote a series about gardening and cats, it would be what Beverly Nichols writes. So highly recommend that. But unfortunately, they're mostly out of print, so you have to find used copies, but they're definitely worth it. I think I've shown you guys these books. I put these on my like Christmas and birthday wish lists after visiting Edith Wharton's house, The Mount, which this is actually the Mount Press, Rizzoli. They reprinted these books, I think, to look like what they looked like when they first came out. So these are two nonfiction books by Edith Wharton, decoration of houses and Italian villas and their gardens, which you can tell what they're about by the titles. It was really fun visiting the Mount to learn more about Edith Wharton and her love of houses and her love of decor. So I need to read these. Also, I need to actually edit my video from the Mount, which hopefully I'll get to that this year. Fingers crossed. Here are my books, of course, the Book of Cymbeline. I have 3 of them. They're a trilogy. You know, I wanted to do a 4th. Honestly, I haven't like ruled out the 4th, but the more I think about it, the more I feel like these are kind of a complete set, just the 3 of them, because we go from summer to fall, fall to winter, and winter to spring. Honestly, these 2 are my favorites. I feel like my mom says the 3rd is the best. So if you haven't checked them out, you can go find them on Amazon as a Kindle ebook or the print book. So this is what I've been reading lately and what I keep meaning to get to. So I'll fill you in on that in a minute, but is there anything else? See, look, I need to reorganize this because my nice puffin and blooms are not together. They're spread out. Elizabeth Goudge, love these. Girls Gone By has done a bunch of paperbacks of different Elizabeth Goudge books, and she is one of my favorite authors, so lovely. Puffin Classics, I like these. Covers that they have for different children's classics. This is new. I found this, the head of the house, at a used, I think it was just like a antique store, not even a bookstore. And I just love these covers. So Grace Livingston Hill was a Christian writer. She wrote in like the 20s and 30s, 1920s and 30s. I really enjoy her works. I have to say, head of the house. So part of it takes place on a boat, which you can see they're out in a boat. And I wish more of it had been on the boat. Unfortunately, the unlikable characters just got a lot of screen time, and the main characters didn't have as much time to develop. So I didn't dislike this, but it wasn't one of my absolute favorites. I remember White Orchids was pretty good, and Substitute Guest took place at Christmas and was very cozy and charming. Of course, we've got Osa Johnson, I Married Adventure, fabulous travel photographer. Oh, The Poet and the Lunatics. We read that with my book club this year. This is one of my favorite G.K. Chestertons. I finally found a used copy of it. It used to belong to Schubert, apparently. Yeah, it was so fun to read this with the book club recently, and I'm so glad to have it on my shelf now because I just absolutely love it. Let's see, what did I highlight here? Why not say that krakens and cuttles and all the sea monsters are themselves flowers, fearful and wonderful flowers in that terrible twilight garden of God? I do not doubt that God can be as fond of a shark as I am of a buttercup. This is such a wonderful G.K. Chesterton. If you've never picked up Poet and the Lunatics, highly recommend it. So I'm trying to decide right now, actually, for my book club. I'm trying to decide the rest of our reading plans for this year. And I love adventure stories for the summer. So I'm debating between Captain Blood by Raphael Sabatini and The Beloved Vagabond by William Locke. I'm kind of leaning towards this. This is set, I think, after the French Revolution. Just high adventure, high romance. Captain Blood is pirates, so also high adventure, high romance, but pirates, whereas this is like Europe. But if you are familiar with the wonderful Betsy Tacy series by Monhart Lovelace, when she goes abroad, Betsy in the Great World, she talks about Perigot, who is the traveler in Beloved Vagabond. So since I've been rereading that, Betsy Tacy this year, it could be a fun opportunity to read The Beloved Vagabond. Another option for my book club actually is over here, because I bought this a while ago and I still haven't gotten to it. Willa Cather, The Song of the Lark. I love Shadows on the Rock. People don't talk about that enough. That's one of my favorite Willa Cathers. It's set in Quebec, like kind of colonial Quebec in the early days. And then Death Comes for the Archbishop. That's really good too. Yes, let's see. What else do we have here? Most of these are old friends. Plenty of Jane Austen, obviously. I don't have the Captain Blood edition in this vintage, what is this? Vintage Classics. But I have 2 others by Raphael Sabatini, The Seahawk and Scaramouche, which I would really like to get the Captain Blood edition of this. But I need to find it. Also, I already have a perfectly good vintage antique copy of Captain Blood. It's not falling apart yet, you know? Yes, these books need a home. Haven't found a home for them quite yet. All of my lovely Penguin English Library paperbacks are here. See, if we had another shelf, I could buy more of these because I could fit more of them. More shelves present so many temptations. Here's more Elizabeth Goudge. Absolutely love Elizabeth Goudge. We read The Secret Island. No, that's not it. What is it called? The something. Island Magic, that's it. Which was actually Goudge's first novel. There aren't very many Goudge novels that I haven't read yet, so I'm like trying to save the ones that I still have and read them slowly. But I did love Island Magic. It was so wonderful. And it was fun to discuss that with you guys. This is a fun series, Image Classics. Just lots of beautiful editions of these different spiritual works. It's another series of books that I absolutely love and I would love to collect more of. Virgo Modern Classics. They're hardcover Virgo Modern Classics. I think we're going to do an Agatha Christie for one of our summer book clubs, but I haven't picked which one yet. Something summery and vacation-y, maybe with Poirot. James Herriot, I don't have all of these either. I would love to get all of these because look, they have the coolest covers and they all kind of go together. But this is such a fun classic tale of a British vet. And then Dorothy Sayers, absolutely love Dorothy Sayers. Love these editions. These are Hodder books, I think. Yeah. The Harriet Vane and Lord Peter Wimsey series are my favorite. So that starts with Strong Poison, Have His Carcass. Doesn't it start with Strong Poison? Wait a minute, am I getting it wrong? No, wait a minute. These are out of order. Okay, Busman's Honeymoon is the last one. Gaudy Night is the third one. What is second? I think these two are not Harriet Vane. Don't get confused, like I'm getting confused. These two are not Harriet Vane. They're just Lord Peter Wimsey. I think this one. Yes, this is the second Harriet Vane. Actually, I keep wanting to buy some more of Dorothy Sayers' nonfiction because I have this one. This is Letters to a Diminished Church, Passionate Arguments for the Relevance of Christian Doctrine. So some of her books about Christianity are really beautiful. She, of course, translated Dante's Divine Comedy. These editions, well, at least one of them. Does Porthos still have one of these? He took it, he borrowed it, and I don't know if I have it back yet. I need to get these on the shelf so I can find out if I'm missing one of my Dante's. Yes, Dorothy Sayers, highly recommend if you haven't read her yet. So maybe we'll sit down and chat about these. All right, so I have my stack of books. I thought I would go through them quickly and let you all know what I've been reading lately and some new books that I purchased, or rather old books that I've purchased. I feel like I've had a lot of luck lately at used bookstores and even like antique stores. I'll find really fun books. I spotted this edition of Pilgrims Progress by John Bunyan. And if you have read Little Women, you'll know that the Little Women characters reference Pilgrim's Progress, and this just felt like it could have come straight off the pages of Little Women. I read this, I think I just read the Gutenberg edition online a couple of years ago, so I don't know that I will be rereading it super soon, but I did love it, and I love having it on my shelf to reread at some point. This isn't a book to read, this is a book to write in, but I thought I would, is it blown out? I have been back to Disney. And I did decide to finally pick this up. I've seen this in the Disney gift shop so many times, and it finally felt like, you know what, I keep thinking about it. I should just get it. It's just a notebook, but it looks exactly like the book at the beginning of the Snow White movie. Like even when you open up the introductory pages, it has the, you know, the lettering and the story just as it does in the movie. So I just think it's so fun. I'll have to decide what am I going to fill this with. As I mentioned earlier, I have been rereading the Betsy Tacy series by Maud Hart Lovelace. It's so delicious. It tells the story of some little girls growing up in the turn of the century, like early 1900s, in Deep Valley, Minnesota, completely based on the real life childhood of Maud Hart Lovelace. And it's so, all of her characters are so warm and so alive, and they all correspond with people in her real life. Emily of Deep Valley was a friend of hers from high school, so most of the books are about Betsy and Tacy and Tib. Betsy is the primary character. She's based on Maud. The high school books are really, really charming. Maud's high school days, like she had the best crowd of friends. They had so many fun parties and went on so many fun adventures together, but like there's also a lot of depth. Like Betsy really comes into her own faith in her high school years, and learns a lot about herself. It's really got so many wonderful elements. So Emily of Deep Valley is one of the few books that are not about Betsy. When Betsy graduates from high school, she goes off to college. Emily would really like to go off to college, but she has to stay home and take care of her grandfather, and she really struggles with, you know, finding her way after all of her friends are going away. But she does manage to find it. They're such adorable illustrations. Look at that, her putting her hair up and finding her hat. The illustrations are by Vera Neville. I still have Carney's House Party, which I don't actually have. I know my mom has a copy of it somewhere, so I have to dig that up. And I also have Betsy's Wedding. So I'm like almost to the end. I'm saving those last two to really savor. I do have another Beverly Nichols to pick up as well. This is called Garden Open Today. In this book on practical gardening, the characters step aside and the garden comes into full view, taking the stage of its own right. Beverly Nichols, in his other books, he sometimes sort of apologizes that they aren't proper gardening books, that, you know, he introduces so many characters and he introduces so many goofy asides and funny, witty things that he has to say. I think his other books are a charming mix, though, of garden and anecdote. But maybe this one is more garden-ish, and it also has really great illustrations. William McLaren is this illustrator. So very excited to pick that up. This book was another used thrift store find. I guess I didn't really need it. I liked the cover. It's called The Portable Roman Reader, The Culture of the Roman State. One of the great formative facts of our world as embodied in representative works of its greatest writers in the best English translations. And I've read some of these, like Lucretius and Cicero and Virgil, but others I don't think I have read. Seneca, Ovid, Horace, Livy. Am I even pronouncing Livy correctly? I might not be. I feel like I've heard their names, but haven't actually read any of their works. So I thought I'll pick this up and then give them a try and see if there are any that, you know, speak to me and I need to go find the full works. This book, I went to a talk and the author actually gave the talk. It's called Visions of the Divine, An Artistic Journey into the Mystery of the Eucharist by Stephen Auth. This book takes a kind of cool approach to the Catholic Mass, and this author goes through and picks a classical painting to exemplify and explore all the different moments of the Mass. So like all the times we cross ourselves in the Mass. He has a painting of a cross and all the other different biblical moments that are referenced in the Mass. I really liked the talk, and I thought it sounded like such a cool idea of a cool way to explore the Mass. Like this one is St. Matthew and the Angel. So St. Matthew, the gospel writer, writing with an angel whispering to him. There really is so much amazing religious art. So I think this could be a cool journey through that as well. This book is called Women of the Catholic Imagination, 12 Inspired Novelists You Should Know. It's edited by Haley Stewart. This is from Word on Fire Publishing. I bought this a while ago. You know, it's kind of like the Roman Reader, where I'd heard of some of these Catholic authors and I read some of them, others I haven't and would like to, and I just thought this might be a good taster, and then I'd be able to decide, well, I've been thinking of reading Gertrude von Lefort. I'm pretty sure I definitely want to read her. Sigrid Undset, I have never been able to get along with the famous one that you all know that is not coming to my mind right now. It's a trilogy. Kristen Lavransdatter. I don't think I'll ever be a Kristen Lavransdatter person, but there are some other things Sigrid Undset wrote that I wouldn't mind checking out. She wrote, I think, was it St. Catherine of Siena? There was St. Catherine of Siena. So that I would like to read. So anyway, just fun to get a taster on these different women Catholic authors to decide what to read next. This I stole from Porthos, Eleanor of Aquitaine by Alison Weir. I just think it'd be fun to read more about Eleanor of Aquitaine. I don't know when I'll get to it. Some of these books I've had kicking around for a while and I have not gotten to them yet. This book I might get rid of. It's called Party Shoes. It's by Noel Streatfeild. I really love Noel Streatfeild. I love Ballet Shoes. I love many of her books. I think when Ballet Shoes, that might have been the first one, probably was the first one, when it was popular, she wrote a lot more, like Theater Shoes, and a lot of them were good. But Party Shoes It's cute. It just didn't grab me. The premise is it takes place right after World War II, so things are still rationed in England, and this little girl gets a package from the United States, and it's got this incredibly beautiful party dress and these adorable party shoes, and she doesn't really have anywhere to wear it because there aren't any, you know, big parties that she goes to. So she and her cousins plan this elaborate production, basically, that they're going to put on. So the whole thing is about them writing the script and asking their neighbors to be in it, and it just, there's not a whole lot of plot, so it didn't really grab me. It really is cute though, isn't it, this edition? My mom had a bunch of old Noel Streatfeild books that she was like, I'll probably get rid of these, and I said, don't do that. Like, I kind of grabbed them, and some of them, like, I don't think it's called Skating Shoes, but there is a Noel Streatfeild book about figure skating that I really liked that one. So some of them I'm glad I saved, but some of them, you know, it sounds cute, but it didn't really grab me. There's another book I read this year that I don't think I'd ever read before. Oh my goodness, a children's classic. It's by Madeleine L'Engle, but I don't think it was Wrinkle in Time. It was A Wind in the Door, which maybe I think I probably meant to start with A Wrinkle in Time. I think that's the more famous one, maybe the first one. It sounds like there's maybe a series. It was so interesting, the premise of it, because it was sort of science fiction-y, and it like kind of takes you into the brain almost. Like it is very interesting, but it just never quite landed. Maybe I should go back and read A Wrinkle in Time. If anyone is familiar with the Madeleine L'Engle, I'd be interested to hear your take on it. I once had, I wonder if it was a library book, because I don't think it's still on my shelf, but it was like a diary that she had written. So it was nonfiction by Madeleine L'Engle, and it was really lovely, like full of lovely reflections. And I think that was also a series, and it made me want to pick up more Madeleine L'Engle, but I didn't get into it until now, and A Wind in the Door didn't really grab me. This book I've been reading very, very slowly, but really, really enjoying. I started it during Lent. It's Introduction to the Devout Life by St. Francis de Sales. He is writing an introduction to the devout life to a friend of his, and apparently he just originally wrote this, and then it became popular, and he kind of expanded it a little and published it. So it was written for an individual to begin with, but it really can be applied to anybody. I like the way he breaks everything down, how we ought to communicate Holy Confession, how we should receive inspirations, advice and remedies against evil friendships. He just has all sorts of different topics that he addresses, and he has so many lovely like stories and metaphors that he ties in. I tend to read a section or two every morning, so I have breakfast with St. Francis de Sales, highly recommend. Eventually, I'm sure I'll get through this before the end of the year, but it's been really nice to take my time with it. These two I found at a used bookstore. They're both really fun. Barbbery Gate, let's be honest, I bought it because of the cat. The kitten on the cover. Isn't that so cute? The kitten is on the spine as well. And Jane Abbott, that sounds like a character from a book. And this character looks so sweet. The end papers are also just adorable, and yet these like don't really represent the story at all. I'm not sure where these came from. This apparently once belonged to Mrs. Ruth Steiber at 306 South Drive in Blackwood, New Jersey. This absolutely makes me want to go find more books by Jane Abbott, though. So it takes place in the South, in Virginia, Havensburg, Virginia, I believe, and it's at an old plantation, and it's set probably like in the early 1900s, so well after the Civil War. But the family that this big house used to belong to had really a crisis, during the war, and the house has been neglected. Two of the very loyal old servants have stayed on, and they are taking care of the sort of last remnant of this house. She's like the niece. Her uncle is still alive, but he never comes home. And I just loved the way this story very slowly unfolded. Winsome Pierce Half Colfax is our heroine, and I didn't know what to expect from this at all, because I was totally a cover buy. There is a kitten. The kitten's name is Dandelion. The kitten doesn't even necessarily feature in the story too much. The dog, Sandy, actually features a little bit more. But yeah, she gradually comes out of her shell and makes friends and gradually learns all about her family's history, and there are so many great twists and turns, and just an absolute absolute delight. Definitely want to look up Jane Abbott and see what else she wrote. The other book I found was The Dress Diary, Secrets from a Victorian Woman's Wardrobe. It's by Kate Straston. This just sounded like such a cool premise. This author is a historian. She specializes in fashion. And she took a lace making class, which doesn't that sound fabulous? I kind of want to take a lace making class. Like, she made lace on a bobbin. It sounds fascinating. But one of her friends from the class gave her this really priceless book, which was a scrapbook from the early 1800s, came from a woman who lived in the north of England where like these textile mills were all, you know, the height of the textile industry. She lived and breathed it. But this historian really had to do a lot of digging because it was just a scrapbook. You know, it was just a scrapbook with different scraps of fabric, and she had to figure out, who did this belong to? Who was she? How can I find out about her story? I kind of wish they had included the full scrapbook. I think that they only included, you know, quite a few pages, but not all of them, because in some of the chapters she'll mention a beautiful fabric, but I went looking for it and the fabric isn't in here. But you know, you often see photographs from the Victorian era, but you don't, they're not in color, and they don't necessarily come to life. But seeing these like colorful fabrics, and this is all the fashion diary of one woman. They're not only the dresses she wore, but also the dresses that her friends and family wore. And I just think that's so delightful. I mean, back in these days, you would have bought the cloth and sewed the dress yourself, or taken it to, you know, taken it to a dressmaker to have it made up. So you would be able to easily get a clip of the fabric. Like, unfortunately, I wish I could have a dress diary. I guess I would put photographs in it, because I don't want to take, you know, cut off some of this Anthropology sales section find just to put it in a scrapbook. But what a delightful idea, isn't it? To have a whole scrapbook of like all the dresses you've ever worn. I wanted to really like this book because it's such a cool premise, and I am still enjoying it. I'm not done yet. This historian, though, I'm afraid, I've come across this in other books too. She injects a little bit too much of her own prejudices and her own opinions and you know, her own self of importance. Like, she wants the fashion history to be looked at as important as any other type of history. And fashion can be important in its own way. It's important in a different way from, say, the events from war and politics. The writing is uneven in any book, really. I think it's best to just present the facts, and then your readers can take in the facts. And the facts often speak for themselves. Like, you know, yes, there were lots of tragedies in history. Like, you don't need to bang into our heads how terrible these things were. Like, we know as soon as we read them. And the way she almost like is inquiring into the conscience of like this woman and her family. You're not the judge. You know, maybe you should inquire into your own conscience and not the consciences of these people. And you know, you're just telling us about her wardrobe and her history. I've noticed this in other history books as well, where the historian will like speculate something on one page, like, oh, maybe this person thought this, and then a couple pages later they'll refer to it as fact, like, oh yes, this person did think this. And I just don't think that's good scholarship. So cool premise. Am enjoying it. Probably I'll finish it, but unfortunate the writing is just a little off kilter. A priest at my church gave me this book. It's called From Christendom to Apostolic Mission: Pastoral Strategies for an Apostolic Age. It's by University of Mary. It's pretty quick and short. I'm not quite through with it yet, but I'm really enjoying it. I feel like he makes so many good points about how, you know, we're really living in an apostolic age, like the way the first apostles were. We've, you know, come through Christendom, but today's age is no longer Christendom. I just think it's a really important topic because I'm obviously a Catholic and my faith is important to me, and the future of the church is important to me. So thinking of it a little bit differently from the past is important. So I was going to tell you all about my book club plans because I have been doing my book club with subscribers. We meet online, usually like the last Thursday of the month, but I send an email out with all the details, and I also put them in my Discord. So if you're not on the list yet and you'd like to be added, you can just send an email, emma@bookishprincess.com, and I will get you added. If you're watching this video when it goes up, my June book club is actually going to be this Thursday, June 26th. We're going to meet at 7 o'clock, and we're going to be discussing Miss Bunkle's book by D.E. Stevenson. This is one of my favorites by D.E. Stevenson. It's just set in a cozy English village, but like there's depth, there's charm. If you'd like to join us, like I said, you can just shoot me an email and I can get you added to the list. If you can't make it to the actual meeting, I do send out a recording afterwards to the book club list for those who can't make it. So Agatha Christie is going to be July. August, I'm pretty sure, is going to be Captain Blood or The Beloved Vagabond. Kind of leaning towards Beloved Vagabond. September, I'd like to do an Edith Wharton book because I do have that video from the Mount that I want to edit, so I thought maybe it would motivate me. If I'm reading an Edith Wharton in September, it will motivate me to get that video edited. There are two, Valley of Decision, which I think was her first novel, and also The Buccaneers, which was her last novel and is unfinished. So those are the two I'm interested in reading. October is, of course, Victober, and I love Charlotte Mary Young, so I think I'm going to do a Charlotte Mary Young again. I just don't know which one quite yet. November, we've been talking in my book club about Moby Dick and how different people are trying to read it, trying to get through it, and I've been meaning to reread it. And also, I have that video from the Mount to edit, but I also visited Herman Melville's house in Massachusetts because it's not that far from the Mount, and I would also like to edit that video. So I thought if we read Moby Dick, or at least part of it, we have a Moby Dick book club in November, that will help motivate me. And then there's an Elizabeth Goudge book that, again, one of these last Elizabeth Goudges that I haven't yet read, called These Three Ships. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. But it's about the Wise Men. It's a Christmas story. We might do that. I thought we might meet on Epiphany, since it's a story of the Three Kings. So yes, those are the book club plans for the moment. So yes, that's what's new with me. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're not yet subscribed to me over on Substack, you should definitely go check that out. It's bookishprincess.substack.com. You might be watching this video on Substack, or you might be watching it on YouTube. Substack also allows me to put up written pieces. It's like a newsletter. It goes straight to your email inbox. So sometimes the things I post on Substack aren't here on YouTube. The Substack email newsletter is separate from the book club email list. I know, it's all technology. It's too confusing. This is why you gotta prioritize real life and not online life, which is what I've been doing these days. That's why I'm not around here quite as much, but I had to share the new library loft with you all. And I do have some other videos I'd like to get around to editing. We will see. We'll see what I have time for and where God directs my energy. One other bookish adventure I wanted to tell you all about was when I went to Boston for that swing workshop. I went to this really cute bookstore. It was called Beacon Hill Books and Cafe, which the cafe you would get to by going down this little brick alleyway, and then it comes out into this courtyard, and it's just absolutely adorable. All the like little dishes they bring out are so cute, and then the bookstore is up above the cafe, and that was also just absolutely darling. One of the cutest bookstores I have ever been in. They even had a little, it was almost like a dollhouse set into the wall, like set into the cupboard beneath the bookshelves. I filmed some little clips, which I'll be putting in right here. I filmed them like in portrait rather than landscape because I was thinking about doing like a little reel, or I'm not on Instagram anymore, so you know, a YouTube short. But I realized I really don't like shorts. Shorts are just designed to be addictive. They're designed to keep you online, and I don't like that kind of online content. I like the kind of content that encourages you to get offline and to go and have a cup of tea and read a book, you know? But that bookstore was absolutely darling. Am I bothering you? I'm almost done.
No, am I bothering you?
No, not at all. I'll have to introduce you guys to my roommate at some point. She's making dinner downstairs. Later we're going line dancing, so I need to wrap this up. But so the swing dancing workshop that I went to in Boston was with these two incredible swing dancers called Niels and Bianca. I'm not sure if I've told you guys about them on my channel before. I feel like I should have, because when I first discovered them, I was just astounded. They're like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. They are that level of iconic. Like, they should really have movies written about them and be on the big screen. But then again, I don't trust Hollywood these days. So Niels and Bianca are probably doing better on their own. But incredibly, I saw that they were doing a swing dance workshop in the United States. And so of course I signed up for it because I'd been following them for about a year. Like, they were really the reason that I got into swing dancing, because I found them on YouTube when I first started going to swing dances, and I just thought, what are they doing? They are so full of joy. They are so skilled. Like, they're like, tell a story with their dancing. Like, whatever they're doing, I have to figure out how to do it. Lindy Hop, although I think they also do what's the other, boogie woogie is the other type of dance. But Lindy Hop is now what I do and what I absolutely adore. And so it was just like so surreal, like a dream come true to like actually be with Niels and Bianca. Like they taught the workshop. So like 2 whole days I was with them learning. I mean, of course there were like 100 other people, but at one of the dances I did stop and say hello to them, and they were so sweet and so kind and so normal and down to earth. I was telling Bianca how much I loved her outfit, and she's like, oh yeah, it's always hard to find just the right outfit. Like they were asking how far I'd driven. They were just so fun. Yeah, if you need a new rabbit hole, a new hobby, go look up Niels and Bianca and find some Lindy Hop lessons near you. Or line dancing. That's what Bex and I are doing tonight. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment, tell me what you're reading and what you're up to, and I'll see you again at some point. Bye guys.